What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Stellar Lumens today, XLM. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, you guys. Here we are at about 27.3332 cents right now. Bitcoin is dropping a little bit. Everything's dropping a little bit. It's fine. It's totally fine. Stuff that should be expected. It's been a second since I've talked about Stellar, hasn't it? Let's see. It's been a little while. March 22nd. Yeah, it's been like a week now, almost. I'm sorry. I have not forsaken you. I've just forgotten, man. There's so many coins to talk about. It's hard to keep them all in track, but I should definitely make time for Stellar. We're looking at this here. All you've done really is found resistance time and time again. Not even at an area of support, to be completely fair. I guess your actual tip here that you tapped was this area of support, in all fairness, and then you began to drop afterwards. You're still well within this bull flag. I think that it's well maintained. You are down about 4.6% today, while Bitcoin itself is down 3.4%. So you're actually holding up better than most coins right now in this initial drop, to be completely fair. And that's fine. There's nothing to be concerned about with that at all. If Bitcoin drops down, another 14 to 15%, which I think it will, Stellar might just tip for tat move with it. There's a very strong chance, and I remember I think that was in my last video. I was saying there's a strong chance we could find a double bottom here, but even if it is a slightly higher low, a precise double bottom, a slightly lower low, whatever, it's nothing to concern yourselves with, right? It's just a little bit lower. Nothing wrong with that. If we're looking at the daily RSI here, you are finding resistance right at the 57 for whatever reason. That's not really an area that you normally find resistance, but you normally actually do go a little bit above that. But whatever, I suppose if you're supposed to go a little bit above that and you can't even get there, you're showing some weakness. But being below the 50, getting some lower lows in the RSI, lower lows in the daily time frame, it does, at least to me, assume that you will go lower. 4-hour RSI is getting oversold, looking rather bearish right there. I want to look at the ribbons real quick. We can come back to this in a second, but I just want to look. I want to see what the ribbons look like. The 4-hour ribbons aren't going to help us. Daily ribbon, yeah, that I'm a bit surprised you didn't go higher. Actually, generally you do go above the ribbon if you live in it, but hey, you're rejecting it now. Definitely rejecting it now. 3-day ribbon looking like we're going to get some kind of cross here, and that's fine if you do. That is a tip. I mean, you're probably going to move down. You might get the 3-day cross, which the 3 day is either respected or not respected, just depending on the charts. I don't think it's that well respected on this thing. I could definitely see you going lower, man. You're rejecting this here. It wouldn't surprise me. It honestly wouldn't surprise me. I'm glad that we did all this. It wouldn't surprise me at all. Oh, wow. Now I have to refresh it. Is that what it is? I have to refresh it. Trading Views update, man. It's more of like a down date. They did it like a couple months ago. You used to be able to press back and it would bring back all the indicators, but now that's not how they do it anymore. It's very possible, what I'm trying to say before I got distracted there, it's very, very possible that Stellar does go below this low. Doesn't mean that it has to, but from a low to a high here, if we're looking at this, 1272 consolidating around here, 1618, I wouldn't be too surprised if you did see prices down at 20 cents. Now, I will say the little caveat there is that from the current price, if Bitcoin's going to drop 14 to 15%, that would mean that you're dropping 26%, and already you're pretty close to Bitcoin. You're moving not tip for tap, but just a little bit more. So I don't necessarily believe. I don't believe that you'll go to 20 cents to 19 cents. That's not my suspicion. But that is the next target area if you take out the 1618. There can be a scenario where you wick through the 1618, which is less common, but you can wick through it. And then as long as you're closing above it, you're absolved of going to these areas. But I think we had it right the first time, man. A double bottom, some kind of a double bottom is what I think should be expected, something in that area. Let's see if we can make sense out of that through other means, right? I mean, first off, phenomenal looking bull flag, right? Absolutely phenomenal. Picture perfect. Low to high. I mean, in all fairness, with this kind of fib, it would make sense to go down to 19 cents. I'm just being fair. Just the fibs are suggestive to the downside. My problem with that is you're going to see Stellar Lumens drop 30%. I don't think so. I don't think so, man. Now that doesn't make sense to me, but it can. It's possible, and if you don't accept it as a possibility, you might be screwed up. But that's prior areas of resistance there. Relative golden ratios down there. Next fib extensions based off of this fib extension there as well. So something you should be aware of. You're at 27 cents now. 19 to 20 cents, absolutely possible. If I had to guess, though, I don't think it happens. Either that or Bitcoin drops more than 14%, and I'm underestimating how far this drop goes. If Bitcoin does go lower than my expectations, if we see something that's on the lines of like 20% or more from the current price, and it could, it's very possible that it could. That's the only way that I could make sense out of this happening for Stellar Lumens. That's my thoughts. Or you never know. Sometimes things they see some sporadic, erratic movements whenever they are in these fearful times. But what about this? What about this guy here? High to low. What do we got going on here? Yeah, there's a lot on the fibs that are pointing to that 19 to 20 cent area. I feel like anytime that I go against the analysis and I use my head instead of just looking at the analysis, or I use my gut, let's say, instead of using the analysis, it doesn't really go in my favor. But I'm gonna try again here. I don't think that you go, if you do go below this low, I don't think you go to 20 cents or 19 cents. But if you do, it's fine. You're at areas to find support. It's fine. Okay, you're in this consolidation phase you've been in for multiple cycles now. This move is just the beginning. It's the prelude, the foreshadowing of the good things to come. You're in a very massive bull flag, XLM, absolutely massive, low to high. If we see prices that are just below, let's even go down to 19 cents. Let's say it goes all the way down to 19 cents, and I don't think it does, but just there, 19 cents. That makes your measure move at about $1.35, $1.35 there. If we take it just below that low, like I think it is, measure moves at $1.60. Measure moves are not guarantees, right? Measure moves are ideas. You can hit the measure move, you can fall shy of the measure move, you can exceed the measure move. Nothing is uncalled for at all. Just something in this area around $1.60. We take this high to low here from the very beginning of this consolidation phase to the very low of this consolidation phase here. And this fib, in all honesty, looks good. 886 to your 618. That's actually very good whenever working your way up to your 2272. And this would imply that you are not stopping at your measure move, but you're going to see prices at $2.46. Can we see that happen? Sure we can. But that would mean it's going to see a bigger move than its last move. Yeah, that's exactly what it would mean. It would see a pretty big move, man. 10x. 11x move. It's possible though. Why? Because even though you were boring for multiple cycles, you're still boring because you're in this consolidation phase. Once you break out, you're breaking out of a multi-cycle consolidation phase, you guys. Are you going to stop below your minimum target? That doesn't sound right to me, but maybe you do. You know, there's other minimum targets to consider here, from a high to a low of the last cycle. Bull cycle high to bear cycle low. Look at that. The measure move's actually right there at that 1272. So, I stand by it. I think something between about like $1.60 to $2.50. That's probably where you're going to go, somewhere in that zone. If I had to lean one way or another, I would think that you do land somewhere that's a little bit closer to $2, just above or just below. But hey, man, anything can happen. You could definitely see some crazy stuff. I want to compare XLM to BTC. We're doing some BTC comparisons today. Let's do that. Let's do that on the weekly basis. Yeah, another beautiful bull flag. Absolutely beautiful, you guys. You look at this here, where you found resistance here is the same area that you found resistance in 2023. Same area you found resistance in 2022. When you break out, the only next kind of logical area, in my opinion, to stop at would be something like, that's something like right around here, where you had this resistance shelf. I don't think that breaking out of this bull flag versus BTC, you would stop right here, but it could happen. You know, something in that area. If this is a bull flag and is to be interpreted as such, and I think that it is, then that would imply that we see growth all the way up to exactly at this high here, right there. Perfect. Something. Well, kind of in that area, right? Just below, just above, whatever. Let's put it right at that measure move there. That's fine. Okay. So I would expect that we do go to 4011 to 4014 versus Bitcoin. If we go to Google Calculator, we input those prices. 401142. Come on now. We multiply that by, let's just say, by Bitcoin's current price. That would put XLM at 95 cents. Seems low. It's because it is, right? 95 cents would take you back up to your all-time highs, but that's if Bitcoin's at its current price. Last time XLM pumped, Bitcoin too had a pump, right? It was a rather nice pump here. I would think that if XLM versus BTC grows, Bitcoin will grow. It won't be at the same price, right? So all I'm saying by this is what we can expect out of this next pump is it will do anything but stay below its all-time highs, right? It's definitely going to new all-time highs. I think it's very conclusive right now. That should conclude that we are absolutely going to new all-time highs. Now, let's have some fun. Let's say Bitcoin does go to prices that are at new all-time highs. By the time XLM versus BTC is at new highs, just like it grew here versus Bitcoin, Bitcoin also grew, XLM also grew. How much higher will Bitcoin be by the time XLM's up at these prices versus Bitcoin? And again, we're taking the bottom area of this range, right? The bottom area there. If Bitcoin's at, let's just say 120K, that gives XLM a $1.37 price. Okay, it's possible we could go to $1.37 or somewhere thereabouts, right? We're trying to be very conservative here. I think that Bitcoin will be much higher than 120K whenever this next move is all said and done. But at this price, it makes sense versus Bitcoin. However, on the fibs, that doesn't really make any sense at all. So let's keep trying. Let's go for a little bit of a higher price. I'm anticipating Bitcoin, by the way, you guys, to go all the way up to a price that's about $170,000, $175,000. So we'll get to that in a second. But I think that XLM is probably going to go somewhere. The 141 it's very common to go to, but just above it. So let's do 130K. We'll do 130K, 150K, and then 170K. Let's just do that real quick. And these are the minimum expectations versus BTC, let alone if it actually goes higher, where the measure move of this bull flag takes you, right? We're just being conservative, trying to be conservative to appeal to the people that think you're a moon boy for calling for realistic price predictions. But we're being conservative here. We're being land boys and girls to the ladies out there. 130K, right? That's what we're going to do. 130K gives you a $1.50, which makes sense. Sounds about right to me. $1.50, 150K. So if Bitcoin's at 150K, Stellar Lumens gets up to this price versus Bitcoin, what will Stellar Lumens price be on the US dollar? $1.71. Sounds about right to me, right? We're making sense. We're making more sense on these logical areas that Bitcoin would probably go to whenever we break out to the new highs. After all, let's just make sense out of this in case anybody has their brain is breaking because they can't see Bitcoin going above 150K. You know, if we look here, from the beginning of this move, I'm not even going to take the low, just the beginning of this move to the end of this move. That was a, or maybe it was this move, I'm sorry, 52, because you consolidated here, 52%, and then here from a high to low here, you went 55%, right? The next move up, you can see started here to that high was up there, but we're just going to say to this high, not the actual high, but the end of the move there, 79%. You notice the pattern, it's getting bigger, right? Low here to this high of this move, that was a 91% move, and then this move here, it did not start at this low, we're not going to measure that, but I think it started here, clear as day. This move started here, ended there, 105%. If you notice the trend, the price is getting bigger and bigger as it grows every single time, and that's without even taking the absolute highs of these moves on most of them, right? From where I think Bitcoin's going to be, let's just say it's at 72 to 71,000, because that's where I think it's going to be, somewhere in that range. If we saw something that's greater than 105%, what would that take us up to? Well, 105% would be at 146K. If we're going to see something greater than 105%, which is the perceived outcome, I think the only next target area to stop at would be the 1618. So it's really, considering prices below 170K to me is just silly. But maybe we do. Maybe it's not there, but at least we're making sense out of 150K, 145K and beyond, right? Does that make sense at least? Or are we going to see a reverse in the trend? We're not going to see a new high. Is the bull market dead and the bear market's over? That's the only way that you could make sense out of that. But using logic, I think it would actually imply that we're going to go a lot higher. So let's say that we are at 174K. Let's say that's where Bitcoin is. We'll do 173K. We'll round down. 173,000. 173,000. Let's do 170. That would give you a price of about $1.94. And again, this is on the lower line of what's to be expected, not the measure move here. It's completely possible that Stellar does see prices above $2. It's very, very possible. And I think it's even likely that you see prices above $2. But at a minimum, $1.60 makes sense. You can make sense out of prices that are at least at new all-time highs if you can't get on board with any of that, right? It makes a lot of sense to me. Beforehand, we are going to go lower. You're at 27 cents now, 27.3 cents now, daily time frame. Rejecting here, lower highs overall, pointed like it wants to go to the oversold zone, and you probably do, or at least get around there. I don't know if you go below this low, but if you do, what I assume to know is that you will go just a little bit lower. I wouldn't be surprised at all if you found support somewhere around 22 cents, and there are a lot of things pointing to 20 to 19 cents as well, though I just have a hard time seeing Stellar drop that much while Bitcoin drops only like 14%. But time will tell. We'll see how it goes. I don't have anything else that I want to say. I think the point's all been made, so I'm going to end the video there. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care of yourselves. Bye.